G'day guys, my name's Josh, you can call me JaWoodle, and welcome to something I don't really do very often. Welcome to a cheeky update video. I should say right from the top that this isn't going to replace the normal video. That will still come out in its normal time slot later on. Hopefully, if all my plans come together, this should come out in that in-between time slot between the regular video releases. So this isn't replacing anything, this is just kind of like a cheeky extra one. There's been a lot happening behind the scenes lately, and I have been trying to post updates onto the community tab on the channel to try and keep people updated, but in true YouTube fashion, I don't think those have been actually getting sent to anyone or shown to anyone, because I am still getting a lot of questions, especially about the outro music. So I thought I should probably just make a video to sit here and explain some things to you, try and lift the curtain of content creation a little bit so you guys know what's happening behind the scenes, just so we're all on the same page. Because after all of this is for you and your entertainment. I mean, you're the whole reason I'm doing this at all, so I feel like you deserve to know the ins and outs of what's going on. So I'm just gonna tell you. I know this isn't gonna be one of those super dramatic pieces to camera with like the sudden punch zooms and the big boom sound effects and the really dramatic music all the way through with a title that's like, YouTube has this massive problem. If they don't fix it now, the platform will die. Or rather it'd be like, YouTube has this massive problem, and if they don't fix it now, the platform will die. Nah, that's not the point of this. We all know that YouTube has problems. I'm not the first nor the biggest creator in this space to talk about this. This isn't some sort of like big watershed expose that's gonna shake the whole industry apart. It's just not gonna be like that. But what I did want to do was shed some light on things that are specific to me and this channel to kind of give you guys an insight to why some things have changed. Okay. So, I guess the best place to start with all of this is actually at the start, which is probably why they call it that. So, for the last few months, almost every video that I've been making has been getting automatically flagged and then demonetized for hate speech, which, if you've ever watched a JaWoodle video, actually if you haven't, this is your first time here, g'day copper, how are ya? Yes, I am always this loud. But if you've ever watched a JaWoodle video, you would know that hate speech just isn't a thing ever in my content. Absolutely not. Absolutely never. In fact, I've been pretty vocal in the past, even to the point of having some pretty proper consequences, which I'm not going to get into here, in standing up against and calling out that kind of genuine dog water behavior. And that's pretty insulting to dog water. So to be told that I was getting demonetized for that sort of thing was pretty startling. And of course I could review it, and I did review it, but well, that's where all the trouble began. What followed was months of daily back and forth with YouTube creator support, sometimes 3 times a day, just trying to get answers about what was going on, and I just couldn't get anywhere. For those of you who don't know how demonetization works on YouTube, basically, when I upload a video, an AI, like Google's AI, will scan the whole video for anything it thinks is a little bit suspect and flag it, and if you get flagged, you get demonetized immediately, and then you can try and review that to get the flag overturned, which makes sense. I mean, with the amount of content that gets uploaded to YouTube every day, every minute for that matter, you can't have a human being watching everyone's video all the way through all the time. So you have to have some sort of automated system to do it. That bit's fine. And what comes after that, which is where all the problems arise. So if you get flagged, it's just instant demonetization on the spot. There is no review or any way to fix it or anything, just bam, yellow icon. From there though, you can ask for what's called a manual review, which Google will tell you is done by an internal team of actual human beings. But in reality, I mean, I don't have any actual evidence of this because clearly I'm not privy to the internal workings of the company, so I'm just kind of basing this off my own personal experiences. But in reality, there is no real life human being on the other side. It's just the same AI that flagged me the first time going back and doubling down on its decision, basically saying, hey Mr. AI, do you agree with what you said 5 seconds ago? And AI goes, yes, I do. I agree with me. Get demonetized. So there's no eyeballs or ears involved in this process. It's just one AI agreeing with the same AI and coming to the same bloody conclusion. And that's it. That's all you get. You get that one review, you get to ask the AI to confirm with its own AI and see if it agrees with itself, which of course it always does. And that's all you get. You can't review a second time, you can't escalate or anything. You get that one review, and that is all she wrote. And at this point, I have never ever had a yellow icon get overturned on review. Never. Not one. I've had so many videos get demonetized, and I review every single one, and every single one just gets confirmed. I've never had an overturn, which is just like, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. It's like, It doesn't even work. So with the review process done, or rather the review process, I don't think I can say those words in this context without the heaviest of air quotes and just absolutely dripping with inflection. With the review process done, I only had one avenue left to me, and that's how everybody likes to spend their very limited time on this rapidly burning marble drifting through space. How everyone likes to spend their afternoons. Chat support. So every day, I would sit in chat support and just try and get some answers about why that day's video had been demonetized, because it was happening day after day after day. So I had this big stack of videos by the end of it that were all demonetized for some reason, and I just wanted to know why. Just like, tell me what is wrong and I will fix it. I'm willing, just give me the information and I will fix this kind of deal. But because all the reviews were done by AI, there wasn't any actual data, wasn't any actual answer to the questions I was asking. They couldn't tell me why it got demonetized. All it was like, oh, we don't know, something in the first 30 seconds was wrong. Here's a link to all our guidelines. You try and figure out what you did wrong, because we're not gonna tell you. Obviously, super bloody frustrating to have someone punish you for something, but not tell you why. The best I ever got, the closest I ever got to actually getting some sort of concise answer to all of this, was in one of the reviews. It said that there was hate speech in the first 7 seconds of the video. Now, I've used the exact same opening script my entire time on YouTube. I've done that same intro literally thousands and thousands of times. The "G'day guys, my name's Josh, you can call me JaWoodle," and the introduction to the game. I know there is no hate speech in those lines. So why does YouTube think there is? They just refused to give me any details about why I was being demonetized at all. And I was having to slog through chats and chats and chats day after day after day and just getting absolutely nowhere. In fact, at one point I did the thing I dislike doing the most, and I took it to Twitter and like made a whole tweet about it to try and get their attention and figure out what was going on, where I just got sent the same copy and pasted link to the vague guidelines I was getting before. Just going absolutely nowhere, just spinning my wheels and doing dollies in the car park. It's awful. At one point, I admit I did start going a little bit loopy. I got chat cabin fever and I started sending captures, like the squiggly text that makes up word and you have to like say what the word is in the capture. I started sending captures to chat support to prove they were human, because I just didn't believe it anymore. Because every single time I talk to them, I get the same bloody responses, the same wording, the same everything. I just didn't believe they weren't a computer anymore. And admittedly, I did get quite a chuckle when I sent one of the captures across and then they replied that they didn't understand what it was. Turns out, as good as AI is, it still gets stuck on the "I am not a robot" button sometimes. But either way, I was spending hours and hours and hours on the hook with these guys and getting no results, and even worse, just getting no answers. So I gave up. I gave up trying to get YouTube to give me an answer about what their problem was, and decided that if I wanted an answer to this, I just had to solve it myself. So I made a whole bunch, like 50 or 60 or however many it was, I don't really remember now, a whole bunch of just short 1-minute videos of the same intro to the same video that got demonetized at one point, but with one word of the intro cut out of each one, and uploaded them all to see which ones would be fine and which ones would get demonetized, to try and figure out which word in particular they had an issue with. It took some time. This brute force approach to try and solve this thing would have taken an awfully long time, but I had to try and solve the issue, and fortunately, I solved it relatively quickly. So from what I can gather from this kind of testing I was doing, it seemed like all the issues were arising from when I say the name of the game I was playing, 7 Days to Die. And that right there is the issue. That last word there, the die, is hate speech. Because I was saying the name of the game in the first couple of seconds of the video, the YouTube algorithm comes in, flags the word die as a big bad no-no word that's way too scary to have that early in the video, and goes, nope, that's it. No more ads for you. Now, I get it. In certain circumstances, I can see how that could be a very big issue. Like wishing death on someone, anyone for that matter, is never an okay thing. It is never okay to do that. You cannot justify that in any way. So I understand how that could potentially be an issue, but that's not the case here. And if any human being actually looked at it rather than just the AI agreeing with itself, they could see that very clearly that's not what was going on. Even though I can tell YouTube in the metadata, like in the behind the scenes data, that this is the name of the game that I am playing. It's even an autocorrect option in the list of games it gives you. So even though I can tell YouTube that that's the game I'm playing, I can even put it in the title of the video. If you say that no-no word, you get slapped down. If there were humans reviewing these things, then or we get overturned immediately, or at least someone could send me an email and be like, oi, dickhead, this is what you're doing wrong. This is why you're getting demonetized. fix this word just here. But because it's AI all the way down, they can't do that. It's AI all the way down, just like turtles in a John Green book. So, yeah. Super bloody frustrating, and despite it taking me this long to explain it all to you, this is actually the condensed version of events as well. It has been a nightmare to try and wade through all of this, and to be honest with you, by the end of it, I felt very much like an angsty Potter puppet pal, just beating my head against the wall. But the upside is, we seem, through no help of YouTube, we seem to have found a solution to the problem. So that's why, from like the end of the Fists Only 2 series and now going forward, I no longer introduce the game as 7 Days to Die. It is just 7 days, because that seems to avoid the trouble. To their credit, actually, YouTube did announce not too long ago that their new guidelines for profanity were too overreaching and too strict, and they were rolling it back to what they had back in November. But I don't think it saves me. I don't think that's going to help me for what I was going through, because I was getting classed as hate speech, not just profanity, which is kind of like a subsect of profanity. So I don't know if that rollback is going to affect me nor help me at all. So I'm just going to keep going with just 7 days from here on out, because it's just not worth the risk. If they change their mind later, I'm up a creek with no paddle and I can't go back and fix it. Okay, you're still with me? You're still hanging out with me? I haven't put you to sleep yet? No, good. Thank goodness for that. Please go and get a refill of coffee or something, because it's totally getting worse from here. That's just the first part. That's just one aspect of everything we're going through. Because on top of all this demonetization nonsense, on top of that, then we had copyright issues. So in the same vein as my intro, I've been using the same outro since I started making YouTube videos as well. Both of those were a day one conception thing, and they've been with me the entire time of making content. Neither of them have significantly changed at all in the entire time. That includes both the words that I say and the music that I use. Now, being a good little boy, the law-abiding citizen that I am, back when I did buy myself the license to use that outro music, specifically to use in YouTube content, internet video content, in perpetuity. That's what it says on the license. I bought that to use that to try and avoid this exact thing happening. Tried to do the right thing, tried to avoid having any sort of copyright issues, and yeah, nah, cool bananas. Look how well that turned out. Everything was actually fine for years, until very recently when I started randomly getting videos struck down for copyright infringement. Because of the completely ass-backwards way that YouTube handles copyright, it wasn't actually the right holder of the song or the owner of the song claiming the copyright. It was some other random third party claiming copyright on behalf of the people who owned the song. So they didn't actually know who owned it or what it was or anything like that. They just heard music and went, I reckon that's copyrighted, and lodged a claim. And that's all they have to do. They don't have to have any proof or anything. They just make the accusation, and then I have to try and get out of it. The way that YouTube handles these copyright appeals is it's basically the whole system is designed just to get you to bend over and take it. And if I was Ice Cube, we'd be singing about the complete lack of Vaseline. You can't actually appeal it without putting some skin of your own on the line. See, you can only appeal a maximum of 3 times. And that's not 3 times per video, that is 3 times in total across your entire channel. So you can't like kind of use them frivolously. You really got to be absolutely sure of it. And even then, if you can go, like you can go in with all of your evidence, all your paperwork, all of the things that prove it's not an infringement, but then Oliver who's made the claim can just go, yeah, I'm going to completely ignore all of your evidence. Mr. YouTube, I pretty promise that it's definitely my song. And YouTube will go like, all right, fair enough, sounds good to me. Here's a copyright strike for the creator, and just believe the claimant's side every single time. So having evidence doesn't actually help if no one bloody looks at it. And this is where it gets worse. Remember I said you had to put some skin on the line to review these things? So if you get a copyright claim against a video and you do nothing, just bend over and take it, you don't actually get any black marks on your record, so you can kind of carry on as normal and just eat the loss, I suppose. But if you do put your hand up to review these things, and then YouTube decides to agree with the copyright claim, you get a strike on your channel. So you don't get a strike if you don't appeal. If you do appeal, you get a strike. So you're risking it. So the first strike is just a warning. If you do it again on a different video, it doesn't matter, and the claimant says, yeah, nah, definitely my video, you get a second strike. You can't upload or stream or anything like that for a whole week. And then if you do it again, and they agree with the claimant, or they stand up and say, definitely my song, and ignore you, and you get a third strike, your entire channel gets deleted. So you're really risking everything despite being right. I just realized that I was making my 3 gesture weird. Is it this one? Is it that one? I don't know. If I was trying to be a spy in Germany in the middle of the war, I'd have got shot and wasted damn good scotch by now. The whole thing is very clear and very obviously set up to favor anyone and everyone who makes copyright claims and doesn't really give the creator any sort of way to defend themselves without literally risking everything. As I said at the top, I am not the first person, nor will I be the last who's been affected by this. Much louder and more important voices than mine have been screaming that this is a broken system for years, but nothing's been fixed, nothing's been done. So I'm not really expecting my voice in this matter to really make any sort of impact around this, but I'm not making it for that reason. I'm not doing this video for that. You guys are the product that make YouTube work, so I want to be as open and transparent with you as possible to really make sure you guys understand exactly what kind of system you're a part of. So I decided to review it. I decided to try and find it because I was right. You know, I did the right thing. I should be at least able to stand on my legs and say, no, this is wrong. So I went to YouTube with my little license in hand and said, excuse me, Mr. Big Bad YouTube, here is my legal permission in documented form that I paid for. Here is the rights that I bought to use this song. And YouTube goes, cool, buddy, don't care, go take it up with the claimant. I'm like, who the fuck is the claimant? They go, we don't know, figure it out. What? I actually had to go back to chat support and try in and out with that one for as long as it took. And eventually, they actually gave me the email address for who owned the rights to the song. They gave me that by accident. They thought it was my email address and they posted it to me. And I was like, bam, done. That is mine. Thank you very much. I'm going to email this person, whoever it is, and try and sort this out and take the next step from there. So I just had to bypass YouTube completely, and it was only through their mistake, which maybe they are human after all, or a very shitty AI, through their mistake, I managed to get the email to contact who I needed to. An absolute rigmarole. So the email address that I got given, well, or got exposed to me, I suppose, was actually the email for a company called Premium Beats, which is who I bought the license from at the start. Now, I do need to say this wasn't their fault. Again, this was a third party, someone completely different who was making a claim on their behalf. So they had no idea about it either. So I had to email them and be like, oi, what's going on? This is my license number, date of purchase, all this kind of stuff. Like all these people, here's who signed it. Why is it being struck down? And they replied to me with like, we have no idea. That wasn't us. Don't know what's going on, but we can try and release it to you. So I had no idea anything was going wrong. The people who owned the song had no idea what was going on. It's just some random Joe Blow sweating in his own ballsack juice in a basement somewhere, being like, I'm gonna cause some fucking trouble today. And YouTube's like, love your work, do it again. So after back and forthing a little bit and proving I had rights to the songs, I did get those videos released from the copyright claim, which was lovely. So then I was back and forthing with Premium Beat, which they were really good about it, just trying to see if there was a way that I could get like whitelisted so it wouldn't happen again. I went to YouTube and asked like, you know, here's my license. Can I just tell you that this song is fine? Here is my license for this song so you can just ignore all the further claims for this particular thing. And they're like, nah, not happening, go back to Premium Beat. So went back to Premium Beat to try and get my channel whitelisted for this song. But then the guy who I was talking to went on a month-long holiday, and apparently he's the only guy who works in the office because nothing can happen until he comes back. So now we're just kind of in limbo, waiting for old mate to get tanned enough on a beach and drink enough margarita that he can float his way home and just put a big tick on my channel or something. I don't know. It's been a whole thing. Well, actually, now I don't know. Now I said that out loud, if I do get whitelisted for this song, it's still old mate Jeffy Ballsack Juice who's making the claim. So, I don't know. Will getting whitelisted even work? I guess we're gonna find out. Who knows at this point? So the long and short and curlies of all this is that until I can come up with some sort of solution for this song, I've just had to remove it from the outro completely, which sucks. I miss it. It's been a staple of my content for so long that it doesn't feel right not having it there, but I can't use it. I can't use it until I have some sort of verification that it's not going to get taken down again. But even then, it still might. But if I hear back from Premium Beat that it's all good to go, I'll try it again. But this whole time, I've been uploading new videos with the outro song, occasionally testing it to see how it's going, and it's still getting docked immediately. So I'm still up shit creek. Not much I can do, but eventually, I'm hoping the song will come back. When that is, no one knows. So I guess the lesson here is, if there is a lesson at all to be taken out of this, is don't bother doing the right thing. Just steal shit. You're gonna get slapped for it anyway. I'm kidding. Don't actually do that. I'm just being a whiny brat. That about summarizes the just exhausting amount of issues that's been happening lately. Like, don't get me wrong, I love YouTube. I love being a part of the platform, and through this platform, I've managed to meet, I've been lucky enough to meet some of the coolest, most wonderful people that I've ever met in my life, and it is fan-flippantastic. And it needs moderation. Moderation, when done well, is a very, very good thing. It needs to be a thing. It's a good thing to have, but occasionally it just oversteps that little bit, which sucks. But even with all of these problems, even with all of this going on, I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. But now, I don't want to leave this rather negative-filled video on such a sour note, so let's talk about some good stuff. We are, slowly but surely, closing in on 100,000 subs. When I'm recording this, I think we need another 15,000 more, which is a lot, but it is looming on the horizon and making me a little bit hot under the collar. We've hit that mid-alpha lull where things kind of slow down across the channel, which I know sounds like a bad thing, but it actually has a lot of benefits. I still get to make 7 days content that I love, try new things and do new series, which is always fun, but it also means I get to go and expand into other games as well. We did some Kerbal Space Program, we've been playing through Sons of the Forest, which has been wild, which, by the way, I do see a good few people on Twitter telling me that they only just discovered that I've been playing through it. They had no idea. So I guess YouTube's been doing its wonderful usual trick of not putting videos in people's subscription feeds. So if this is the first you're hearing about it, definitely go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and turns out I'm both a big old fraidy cat and terrible at video games. So edging closer to 100,000 is actually fairly nerve-wracking because I've made a lot of promises. There was a lot of things that I said we would do when we reached 100,000, thinking that it's so far off on the horizon, we were never going to make it, it was fine. But now that it's looming large over me, suddenly it's like almost a reality. I'm gonna have to do a Stun Baton only series. I don't want to, but I made promises and now I have regrets. So playing some new games other than 7 days has been wonderful, a breath of fresh air. And I know that those videos don't typically get as many views as a 7 days video would, but that's okay. That's fine with me. And I know that some people will happily and readily point out the difference in numbers to me to try and get a gotcha. That just seem intent on pitting different content creators against each other for the drama or something, but that's fine. I'm not making videos for those kind of people anyway. They are not the kind of audience I'm looking for. If they want to be that toxic and they want to be that cancerous, then that's fine. They can do that somewhere else as far as I'm concerned. No skin off my teeth. There are several communities that I can happily recommend to them off the top of my head where they will fit in with equally like-minded people like a very well-cut jigsaw piece. Just straight in, happy as a cucumber called Larry, because this ain't the place for them. I am very, 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 very fortunate to be surrounded by some of the most well-meaning and supportive people I've ever had the privilege of meeting in my life. And those are the people that I want to make content for, not these other sour sycophants. Which, I know I harp on about this like a lot, especially at the end of a series or something, but it's true. And especially so in light of all the things that we've talked about today. Those of you who show up every day and watch the videos, whether it be 7 days or not, absolutely invaluable. Like, I can't state that enough. I don't have to consider dropping down and making shitty clickbait thumbnails that completely misrepresent or have nothing to do with the video they're on top of, or just making trashy content to try and draw in clicks. I can't tell you how liberating it is to be able to make content that I believe in, content that I would watch that is always the golden rule, and not make, I don't know, the top 10 things that you won't believe. Part 267. So a massive thank you to everyone who shows up and watches the videos, to the legends on Patreon or YouTube members or Twitch subscribers or whatever, anyone who puts their money where their mouth is to help support this, and just everyone who comes in to be a positive part of what we're building over here. You're all incredible, and I wouldn't trade you for the world. Oh, because you are my world. Oh, gross. But that is where I'm going to leave this video for today. It's been a lot, I know, but hopefully that gets you all up to speed on everything that has been happening. And hopefully now, fingers crossed, we're on the right path, building up to bigger and better things. Cause fuck them, you know? If I was gonna change me to appease someone else, I'd have done that a long, long time ago. I'm me, fuck anyone who wants me to be anything else. So I guess all that's left to do is the weirdly musicless outro. It's always weird doing it on a video that's not a gaming video, but hey, I don't make the rules. Oh, well, I do make the rules, but I also have to follow the rules. But I'll have to continue to follow the rules in another video because this video is done. So thank you guys for watching. Most of all, thank you to the patrons of Patreon who made this video possible. If you like to, make sure you hit the like button down below, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter. If I don't talk to you there first, I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one.